So what an incredible weekend. My God, what an incredible week. Every week is an incredible week, it seems. Boy, news coming hot and heavy. This just in, ladies and gentlemen, it seems as though the State Department has in fact expelled 60 Russians. Coast to coast, many of which are in and around Seattle, I understand. I don't have the official word yet, but pretty reliable sources. Many of which were around Seattle, where we, the United States, have a nuclear sub base. Inside information has suggested to me that this is more than that. This was Tillerson, with the help of Pompeo, who is now the Secretary of State. Tillerson had prearranged with Pompeo, actually behind the president's back. It's what I'm getting. You might remember, ladies and gentlemen, there was a poisoning, and of course Theresa May came out with great criticism, and of course our president reluctantly, finally, after several days thereafter, come out and say, well, it could have been the Russians. Looks like it, is what he says. It's the kind of thing you'll say when you got something stuck on your shoe. Looks like it. Is that gum or is that, you know? To which I gave some criticism, because this president we have, Donald John, is reluctant to give any criticism, especially to Vladimir Putin and Russia, what seems to be his home state that he wants to make great again, and it is becoming great. But be that as it may. So, what I'm understanding here is that many of these 60 were considered actual agents. They referred to him, I think news people are referring to him as diplomats, but theoretically, Tillerson knew that they were agents. You see, you Americans are not understanding what this whole Russian thing is about, and you should. Well, of course you would if you were not listening to Ox Conservative Talk Radio trying to make you feel somehow or another like that the media or Rip Daniels is doing something wrong. This is about espionage, spying, and intervention, the likes of which we've not seen in this country, ladies and gentlemen, since Kennedy. It's just serious stuff. This is information and influencing elections. This is clandestinely going in and taking out adversaries, even former Russian adversaries, like the poisoning there in Great Britain. And heaven forbid what else is happening here. One never knows, does one? Or two.
48.
Yeah, 48. So let me just tell you, folks. We were at a very pivotal moment. Vladimir Putin's boy is in our White House. I think Tillerson understood that when he said protecting the Constitution. Pompeo, I think, is going along. I think he's playing along. I don't think Pompeo actually is that. How do I put this? I think Pompeo is putting country over president. I think he's playing the part, and as he should. As he should. That's what patriotism is all about. None of us are beyond reproach. None of us, including the president, are beyond questioning. This is not his company. This is our country. And you so-called conservatives need to act like it. Need to act like it quickly. I'm going to say this and then I'll move on. We got a lot of stuff here, folks. Every prediction I've made about this, bro, has happened. Every warning has happened with the exception of one. Yet. And that's about to happen.
You want to reiterate? Or?
I shall.
Okay.
Before I went off yesterday, or maybe it was right after, Friday. The president came out and said that he came out with a executive order banning transgenders. I want you to pull that up. I know I'm catching it flat-footed here. Now, hang on. Mathis, our Secretary of Defense, saw this differently. But the president, very early on, the president had said, well, he wanted to ban all transgenders. So-called Mad Dog Mathis came out and said, no, we don't necessarily have to do that now. Whoa. Let me tell you what Mathis knows. He knows that a transgender guy behind a M16 or behind an Abrams tank or at the button of the nuclear missiles is just as capable of pushing that button or pulling that trigger or launching that missile as anybody else. He knows that. And if it's anybody who has some kind of sexual afflictions, the president might need to look at himself, given what we just heard. I'll get to that. But he is the last piece on the table, Ishmael. You know, I had predicted some things, and this goes back to, you know, the base in the North Pole that no one seems to be dealing with, and of course Vladimir Putin's coming out and reenacting Khrushchev's attack on the United States with bombs falling in Florida, and then the hypersonic Mach 10 missile, the bragging and suggesting that, okay, we have this, we have the ability, you can't. That's all out of Ronald Reagan's playbook that destroyed the Soviet Union by simply having the Soviet Union overextended and spend itself into oblivion. Well, the president just put forward a $700 billion budget for the Department of Defense, while simultaneously, ladies and gentlemen, cutting taxes. Now, how do you give yourself a raise and then fire yourself at the same time? Hang on. I'm going to get to all this. It's going to be crystal clear. But the last piece on this chessboard, I said we know that Vladimir Putin's now going to enact his plan is Mathis. Tillerson's gone. Coker had already said, well, as we got Tillerson there, then okay, you know, the State Department guy is gone. Let's see here. You've got now Mattis is gone. National Security Advisor of the General Mattis. Masters, I'm sorry, McMasters. All of those individuals who had a greater commitment to country than him. Mad Dog Mattis is the last one. He's it. And I think he is on his way out because Donald John now has challenged his position that transgender doesn't matter. Now, I know some of you think, oh, yeah, we're transgender, we want to have them in. Let me tell you, I've come to realize, do you know how much courage and strength it takes for an individual to just be gay? I mean, as a heterosexual man, trust me on this, I wouldn't want to have all that on me. Do you have any idea how many balls it takes? Since we're in Final Four.
God, I see what you did there.
You don't have any idea? You know, you want to talk about vulnerability? It's that guy who lets his penis lead him around the White House. It's that guy. That guy who can't say no. That guy who would just as soon jump over a golfer hole just because it's a hole, if you get my drift. That guy who is just can't quite adjust to just having a woman around him without him somehow or another losing it. And I have to have it, whatever it takes, whatever I have to pay. That guy, you know what I'm talking about, ladies. That guy who just, I'm telling you, you know. He just has to have it. No matter what just a whore. I don't know how else to put it.
I don't know if it's better.
And don't get me wrong, folks. As a man, you can get away with that. You can. I mean, there's a double standard. I'm not going to debate it. It is a double standard. And, you know, but there are some men who just can't help it. But hang on. Now I've got so much. I'm running it all together. Don't want you to lose me on this. This transgender thing is challenging General Mattis. Because, ladies and gentlemen, trust me on this, there are transgenders who are at control command there. Command and control there in and around Florida. There are transgender individuals at the highest levels in this country, in the military. Don't ask me how I know this. If you think for once that they're not gay guys or girls in environments that are very critical to this country, you need to think again. And what we want them for is their ability to kill. Rationally. And trust me, if the president is saying getting rid of him, he is challenging General Mattis. Watch this very, very closely. I think the next thing is that's going to happen is going to be a flexing by General Mattis. A flexing whereby, how do I put this? He takes a military action contrary to the president, i.e., something in and around Russia or a Russian ally. No, I'm not talking about attacking North Korea. I'm talking about something else. Maybe something in and around the Ukraine. Maybe send one of our fleets into the Black Sea, something like that. Whereby, and of course, you would ordinarily think the president would be informed, but he doesn't get his national security advisement on a frequent basis. And so Mattis is going to do something like that, and then all of a sudden you're going to find him taking the task. When he leaves, trust me, it is willy-nilly. Katie bar the doors. Wash away, Josh away. I'm telling you. Vladimir Putin then will make his move. And I'm not talking militaristically. Don't go thinking I'm talking about the rain, the bombs are going to fall.
Not Red Dawn here.
No, it's not that at all. It's all about the money.
So the tactic, or part of the strategy rather, that was used in destabilizing and ultimately disintegrating the USSR is now being used
Absolutely.
on the USA.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This whole tariff thing is, let me just tell you, it is, it is tantamount, ladies and gentlemen, it could be tantamount to a nuclear meltdown to start at Chernobyl. Why do I say this? Here we are, we have now placed tariffs on the country that has that's holding the paper for a tremendous amount of our debt. Now just think about that a minute. That's tantamount to, you got a cosigner. You got somebody, no. You got somebody you borrowed some money from. Hey man, loan me $100. And they loan you that $100. You see, when you have a debt, you have to borrow that money. When you say the national debt, then you realize there are those who are holding that paper between England and Singapore and China. So in other words, someone is saying, okay, yeah, America, we got you. So let me borrow $100. This is America. Let me borrow $100. Okay, I got you. But you're going to pay me some interest. And boy, are we paying interest. And so that same guy that you borrowed money from, you say to that guy who's also, he's got the money, he's selling you stuff. You say to that guy, man, you know what? You keep selling. Okay, put it in a drug game. You keep selling these drugs. You keep selling this marijuana here, and now you're going to jack the price? No. That's what I'm saying. Let's say this guy is selling the marijuana, and you tell all your handlers you're going to raise the price on it. He's selling it to you. It's cheap. But you can raise the price of his dope so that maybe the local dope can be better. You understand what I'm saying to you?
You're price fixing the dope?
Absolutely. That's tariff.
Okay.
So just so you can sell the dope you already got on the street, you say, no, I'm going to charge more for this China Red dope.
That's that good dope.
That's a tariff. In other words, you put in extra penalties because
it's imported.
But it's the same guy you owe money to.
Yeah.
It's the guy that just loaned you money.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think that guy's going to do?
Call in that loan.
You say, man, you got to give me my money now. I can't make money off of you.
Hey.
I can't make money off of you, and you gonna treat me like this? You gonna treat me like this? After I loan you this money, this is China. You got to be crazy. What do you think I'm gonna do? Just lay here and take this? No. So we just put tariffs on the country that holds a significant amount of our debt. See what I mean by meltdown? I'm going to tell you, folks, it doesn't make sense, which is why the stock market did what he did, which is why a lot of folks now are just kind of feeling. See, but in Donald Jones' world, who is, by the way, he is the real international citizen. You just accuse President Barack Obama of that because he went to the UN and so forth. He is the international citizen is sitting in the White House. He's the international capitalist, ladies and gentlemen. He is the plutocrat, the Machiavellian, want to be king of the world guy. It was not, I repeat, it was not President Barack Obama. This guy here is more important to him that he sets atop his money than his country. I'm just telling you. I know this type very well. He doesn't see the world like, he never has seen the world like you and I. I mean, everything has its price in his mind. I'm just saying. And so he just does this with China. Simultaneously now, while China is making a base, remember the base that President Barack Obama had to send the fleet over? Remember that? They're making land and they made the base outside of Taiwan.
Right.
Heard nothing about that. Yeah. That's part of the deal. Yeah. But what he wants is for America to become overextended. That's what he wants. And it's working. You guys look around this country, you know, you start talking about the economy. Oh, yeah, boy, we humming. Let me just tell you, retail is at an all-time low. Sears closing up. Target's closing down stores, even Applebee's. Toys R Us gone, really?
Gone.
You stopped buying toys? Well, granted,
in stores,
some of it has to do with
that aren't Walmart.
With the consumer. There's no doubt. That's just true. However, there's something eerily happening here at the highest levels. And let me just tell you, when the little guy, the real little guy, I'm talking below the blue-collar worker, when that guy right there starts resorting to anything for relief, i.e., let's see, drugs. I mean, that's what you do. There's some individuals who get caught up, and so therefore the opiates become more desirable.
True.
I'm just simply saying, you just want to get away from it all. That happened during the Vietnam conflict. But where I'm headed with this is, when such time that you don't have that lower base, that so-called lower class in Donald John's eyes, trust me, you don't have any people to draft. So anyway, I'm going to be explaining this all week. But watch very closely what happens to our Secretary of Defense. If he leaves, watch very closely. Because then the fly is in the ointment. And the deal has been hatched, and the deal is now coming to be. And it's just a matter of time, folks. I'm just going to tell you, when the greatness that we were experiencing becomes something of a horror story. Just saying. All right, we're going to get to Big Mike. I want to get to that. Man, it's just so, I'm looking at all this stuff on all this list. This is incredible. You've got the March on Washington. You got March Madness. What was more important to you? March on Washington by the young people or the March Madness? Which one?
The March by the young people.
Was it?
Yeah.
Which one do you watch?
Neither.
Yeah, well, okay. Then, of course, Stormy on 60 Minutes with Anderson Cooper.
Oh, yeah. Salacious.
You know, I had someone to ask me about why it is I was so insistent that you had about the Austin terrorists and why. And I tried to explain to that individual just why. And some of you don't grasp this, and you should grasp this. Some of you don't understand that the workings of the terrorist. I think even some of you in law enforcement, as you read through even the FBI's definition, although there's nothing that they can say is exact. And they talk about the threat on society, the threat on government. A threat on this society is anarchy. When such time you got one of those losers with a gun, and I don't care what religion he is, when he goes on a tear and decides to kill everybody or blow everybody up, what he wants at that point is anarchy and for him to have the control. That is a terrorist tactic. Now, whether you guys want to accept that or not, that's your prerogative. It has little to do with a mission from God and Muslims or Christians. It has more to do with him. More to do with him going out. But it's a different story when you're talking about an individual who has actually declared war and got some revenge, and he's actually a working warrior for whomever. I mean, just saying Allahu Akbar or saying I work for ISIS is not enough for Rip Daniels. Just not. I mean, are you a terrorist? Yeah, you're a terrorist because of your actions. Because you've gone out and you've decided the murder and mayhem. You got me? And your whole cause is for your self-gratification. If you can identify with Jesus or Allah or whoever, then fine. I don't believe that crap. I just don't. What it's about at that point is this guy right here. Deciding to take it out on the entire world and have anarchy. Because he could not fit into a system whereby you had to go out and work for your money and work for your affection. He just was not good at it. You know, he was cast away by his job and turned away by his girlfriend or whoever, and I just can't have it, and therefore I want the whole world to blow up and take me with you. It's mayhem. My gun is a tool. My mind is a weapon. I don't know if I was the first to say it. If I was, henceforth and forevermore, put it in quotes. Trust me, my gun is not nearly as vicious or as conniving or as treacherous or as precise as my mind. Those of us who are gun owners know that. Those of us who are true, sort of marksmen, I guess, know that. You see, it's not about having a gun and even firing the weapon as much as it is your ability to calm yourself, calm your breathing, and get a good trained eye. And depending on how far away your target is, know which way the wind's blowing. But that's all mental. It's all mental. My gun is never as strong as my mind. That's what this is all about. My gun is a tool. My whatever weapon it is. I want to make sure you understand that as we go into what we're going to go into with this whole march thing. Right now, young people are closing in on Ryan's house there in Wisconsin.
Paul Ryan?
Yeah.
Are they armed?
No, they're not.
Well, what's the point?
Well, I understand. I'm going to play this clip from Killer Mike to get this started. Killer Mark says that there are 5 weapons that every African American household should have. I want to get your views as to whether or not you agree or disagree. And then, of course, they ran his piece that he did a week ago on Saturday, which implied that somehow or another he was talking against the march, which is what actually, NRA kinds of folks do.
Right.
The whole thing is to manipulate the audience, and sow seeds of doubt, and dispel, or either say, well, he did it, so he did it. You got me? Or, oh, yeah. In other words, it's just undermine. That's what it's all about. But I want to play this from Killer Mike, and this was a piece that he did. But he was on Tom Jones this morning talking with Roland Martin, and he had said this before, and he's reverberating what he said regarding what weapons every African-American household should have.
There are 5 guns that are needed in every black household, in every American household. You need a semi-automatic pistol, you need a revolver, you need a shotgun. Those things are for protecting oneself out in the world. Shotgun would be for protecting the home front. You need a bolt-action hunting rifle, which in many cases are more powerful than an AR-15, in case you want to catch and kill game yourself. And you need an AR-15, a AK-47, some domestic semi-automatic version that looks really mean, but it's still a semi-automatic weapon. You need that weapon in case of tyranny. Absolutely.
Wow. You said in case of tyranny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In case of tyranny is why black people have only been free 54 years. We literally have only been out of apartheid 54 years. And had it not been for people like Deacons of Defense, had it not been for people like Robert M. Williams, and had it not been for people
Anyone disagree with that? All right, Killer Mike. I've been saying it for a while. I've been waiting for someone to catch up to that. I think you've heard that before, but do you agree? You got 5 weapons.
Yeah.
He's suggesting an African American household, but he said every household.
Well, he said every household. Yeah. Every American household. I agree with him 100%. I got some shopping to do. I'm down a couple.
What do you think about that, Woodlawn? Because he got some criticism. Do you?
I agree with him.
Why?
Because you need different types of guns for different types of situations.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
That's a good way of looking at it. I don't know if I need 5, but
Well, he's getting a lot of criticism here because, of course, he came out also and said he wasn't a member of the NRA, but he is a member of the black organization. He wants to join the socialist organization, actually, it's gun toters. So do you feel that there's that much threat here in this great country of tyranny? And that an AR-15 would be the only weapon of choice to prohibit that?
maybe not now, but I think ultimately it could get to that point. So preparing for that would be the best thing for families, black families, all families, to prepare and get ready for it.
Especially taking seriously, if I just may add to what Whitlock said, taking seriously what you had just mentioned about a possible destabilization of this country and what that could mean. Again, we're not talking about Red Dawn type invasion, Venezuela joining with Russia to come and bum rush the U.S. However, folks within the U.S., as we've seen with the more recent terror attacks in this country, could pose a bigger threat than those foreign countries or powers ever could. So,
have any idea what would happen if Donald Trump was impeached or left office, or heaven forbid he was assassinated by some left-wing hanging guy? I mean, could you imagine?
His supporters would probably lose it.
yeah,
Really? You think that?
His strategist and organizer Roger Stone prophesied as much that his support, and Trump has even spoken to it, that Trump, an impeachment of Trump would lead to civil unrest.
They're not just going to peacefully step down from that.
Really?
I don't think we're talking about helter-skelter here, but I certainly do think that a lot of those supporters, some of which are very nice type people, would show up and show out like they did at Charlottesville.
And then look at hate crime and how it's doubled since he's coming off. If he were to be placed out of the office, do you think that hate crime would increase or decrease? I would say increase.
Really?
Yeah.
That's real fear out here.
No, it's just time to get ready.
Very surprised by that. Of course, Killer Mike also came out and indicated that he sees nothing wrong with gun registration, and I agree. I mean, the idea of having a weapon and having it registered and so forth and having some gun controls is not something that he's afraid of, and I'm not either. Not at all. Those who are, I think, have a problem with fear. All right, yeah, we're going to get this. That's on the table as well. We'll get to it. And we got some more from Big Mike. Killer Mike. I'm sorry. I keep saying Big Mike. I apologize. And then there's this. Stormy. So, okay, go ahead and play the magazine bit. I know you want to. You're jumping at the bit.
Thank you, sir.
For those who want this visual, go ahead.
Stormy from last night's 60 Minutes.
It started off all about him, just talking about himself. And he's like, have you seen my new magazine?
He was showing you his own picture on the cover of the magazine.
Right. And so I was like, does this normally work for you? And he looked very taken back, like he didn't really understand what I was saying. Like, does this, talking about yourself normally work? And I was like, someone should take that magazine and spank you with it. And I'll never forget the look on his face. And he was like,
What was look?
just, I don't think anyone's ever spoken to him like that. Especially, a young woman who looked like me. And I said, give me that. And I just remember going, you wouldn't. Hand it over. And so he did. And I was like, turn around, drop him.
You told Donald Trump to turn around and take off his pants.
Yes.
And did he?
Yes. So he turned around and pulled his pants down a little. He had underwear on and stuff. And I just gave him a couple swats.
This was done in a joking manner.
Yes. And from that moment on, he was a completely different person.
How so?
he quit talking about himself, and he asked me things, and I asked him things, and it became, like, you know, a more appropriate.
Became more comfortable.
Yeah. He's like, wow, you are special. You remind me of my daughter. You know.
Really?
He's like, you're smart, beautiful, and a woman to be reckoned with. I like you.
And that's something you say about a porn queen? I mean, a porn star? Adult movie star? I'm sorry, I need to start calling her adult movie star, not porn.
Yeah, there you go.
She is a professional.
She is a professional. It has been.
See the hands of a man who would do that. Turn around.
Wait, do what? Which part?
Yeah, with the part with the magazine. Turn around. You would do that, bro?
Maybe not with Stormy.
You would do that?
Maybe not with Stormy, but I mean,
You gotta be kidding me.
she wants it.
Yeah, turn around.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Turn around for what?
What you doing with the magazine? Wait, hold on now. Hold on.
Don't worry about what's back there.
Hold on now. Hold on.
Your man's gonna do that.
Well, I don't know.
Don't be so quick.
I don't know. The leader of the free world did it.
Well, he wasn't a leader then.
Well, no.
I mean, that's kind of tabloid, kind of one of those cartoons you see in a Playboy magazine or a Hustler. Take the magazine and pop him on his behind.
You need a spanking. Okay.
Don't do no crap like that.
Am I tooting it?
We'll be back, folks.
Hey, travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call.